My name is Dr. Tamara Russell. I'm a clinical psychologist and martial artist. I'm the founder and co-director of the Mindfulness Center of Excellence, where we've been doing work over many years around mindfulness in a crisis, mindfulness for the management of severe, extraordinary mental states, and also mindfulness in technology.
First question then, Tamara, is how can we as mindfulness teachers support ourselves, obviously, but also use your kind of mindful movement expertise to connect with the people we're working with online?
So, what I've noticed is that there's been this rush online to offer support to people by many professionals, including mindfulness teachers. And for many of them, this is something quite new because often we prefer to work in person, we're in small groups and rooms together. And that's got a very different feel to when we're all on a Zoom call, for example, or in a big webinar together. And relating mindfully to the technology is, of course, a key factor that was always important, but it's really being rammed home now because we're all working online. And so this, for me, is a key adaptation for people, which is really being thoughtful about the approach to the cushion when the cushion is now your laptop and your screen. And I've been doing work, transformative work, including mindfulness teaching online for a few years now, outside my kind of normal clinical practice and mindfulness activities. And there are a few tips and techniques that I would recommend. So one of them is what I call the transitional pause, and I can put a link to the SoundCloud to let people have access to that. But this is really making more explicit the transition from one activity to another. Maybe it's a physical transition from one room to another. If you're moving around the space in your home, perhaps going from the kitchen to the home office or to the bedroom, wherever you're making your sessions, really deliberately transitioning, thinking, where have I come from? Where am I now? And what am I doing? We assume that we're doing this all the time, but actually we're often not. And certainly when we're in this states where there's a bit more elevated fear and anxiety, whether for ourselves as an individual or for the clients and the groups that we're working with, I find that transitioning mindfully into the online space really brings the focus of attention, not only to kind of the task and the screen, but also, the attitude that we want to bring to our practice together online. So the transitional pause, has three parts: a bit of open awareness, equanimity around just the stuff of life that we bring with us, including all the franticness of getting online, kind of soothing some of that anxiety there, saying, yeah, that's okay. You're late, you're panicking, you couldn't get things to work. Totally normalizing that really helps to soothe. Grounding through the body, just as we might normally do with a FOF box, something similar to that. But I like to do a shoulder roll there because moving together really helps us to connect. And this is where actually the stress and anxiety is pretty evident for most people. So this is an emotion regulation task as far as I'm concerned. And then that zooming in and
Can you
paying
just
attention.
demonstrate the shoulder roll?
Yeah, so the shoulder roll, I mean, we've got two versions of it. One is just let me move my body and get some relief, which is kind of more like a relaxation exercise. But if we then deliberately engage our frontal lobe and choose the shoulders as the focused object of attention, I might close my eyes there. And now the shoulder roll is actually now a focused attention object for my mindfulness practice. So as I roll the shoulders forwards, up, back and down, I'm really monitoring my attention, and if the mind wanders, bringing it back. Often the mind wandering to, are the people still there? Do I need to open my eyes? When is it going to end? And as with any mindfulness object, noticing when you're no longer there, saying, hello, I see you, not now, come back. And just trying as best you can for 2 more rolls. And there might even be an option there to synchronize those final 2 rolls with an in-breath and an out-breath. And as the out-breath comes, really allowing the body to sink, release and relax.
That does help. So you're saying this transition has a few different ingredients?
Well, it's kind of like a tapas selection of mindfulness exercises, and I have to say it is designed with the more ADHD mind in mind, because that's a bit of my own style and lots of my own work. How do we work with agitated and distracted minds, and with all the tasks that we need to do online? We're in that state a little bit as mindfulness teachers. I mean, they're used to these quiet and mindful transitions into a beautiful space, and suddenly they've got 500 things to do, people popping up all over the place. It's kind of like an enforced ADHD on a beautiful tranquil mind of a meditation teacher. So I do recognize the challenges of that. But certainly, I think really creating space for the chaos of coming online and having a process like the transitional pause to manage and normalize that makes a difference for the quality of attention and connection that you're going to get later on. And then from that kind of position, having seen what I bring with me, having kind of done my best to soothe and calm and be present, now I'm going to orient my mind to what I'm doing here. And for me, that's checking in with my heart. Why am I doing this work? What am I hoping to offer? And then sort of narrowing down to, okay, brain, this is what you need to do. The task now is interview, clarity, pacing, slow down, pause, share. So I'm just giving extra instructions to my brain, basically. And this helps, I think, to counteract some of the agitation of the general anxiety, then the layer of agitation that comes with trying to get people online. So transitional pauses, mindful movements. The next thing I do is I make sure that everybody has the opportunity to communicate and to share themselves in the group in whatever way is helpful for them. So again, working with more sensitive populations, we don't assume that everybody wants to share the video. And highly sensitive people are particularly affected by, some of the electromagnetic fields of the laptop, some of the visual experience of Zoom. They have a particular sense of being invaded sometimes. Plus, they might have loads of eyes on them all of a sudden in a way that's very different to when we're sitting in a circle. Yeah, we're not in a circle with 1 or 2 people opposite us. We've got everybody's faces right there, everybody's eyes looking at us. So I allow time. Yeah, we need to allow time for this. I allow time to say, okay, everybody, let's do onboarding to the Zoom. Usually people get used to it after a couple of times, but this is like, okay, folks, how do you mute? How do you get rid of your camera? What are you going to do if your husband suddenly runs behind you with no clothes on? Yeah, you need to know how to click that button quickly to, drop the camera. People are working at home, all sorts of things are happening. So I just say to people, you're in charge of this. I mean, I can mute you, I can block you, I can kick you off, but you're in charge of your exposure level. It's a beautiful practice in itself, right? How much do I want to share?
Tamara, there's a big theme nowadays about trauma-informed mindfulness, and in fact, some research has shown it can actually be harmful to start talking about thoughts and feelings in the middle of a crisis. How would you manage that?
So if we go to the classic definitions of mindfulness, this is being present with what is. And we might then want to put ourselves in the shoes of a frontline healthcare worker, for example, particularly if it's somebody that hasn't had experience of mindfulness practice before, and think about what it might be like to jump into the body or to turn the camera in, as we do in mindfulness, when that internal state is either highly defended or all over the place. And this kind of mindfulness in a crisis work really asks us to reflect on which of the mindfulness skills are going to be most helpful for people when they might be experiencing these states. So for me, I look to the work with mindfulness and psychosis because this was actually some of the thinking that led to my adaptations of mindful movement as a way to work with mindfulness in extreme mental states. You know, you are technically creating a sensation for the mind to observe. And this, in some ways, kind of parcels the attentional system of the brain. It gives you an ongoing sensation to watch and observe, which gives you a little bit more to anchor to if distressing thoughts, experiences, or emotions come up. And if you're dissociated or disconnected, it's also a great way to kind of more, in a more stepped way, come into the body. Once you've checked that people are kind of open and happy, sort of ready to go, I do sometimes just say, is there anything else you could do right now to get more comfortable? I mean, it's a bit of classic mindfulness instruction, but it's like, do you need a cup of tea? Have you had time for a cup of tea? Are you wearing your pajamas? You know, is there a piece of clothing that's going to just be nicer for you to be wearing? Do you want to get a blanket? Can you adjust the lighting? Just, you're really modeling in their own home environment, which is very powerful for generalization. Where is their comfort and kindness in this process? Because we don't want to make this process another aggressive thing for the mind and body. So if you're not in a comfortable chair, get a cushion. If you want to stand up, that's fine. If you want to keep stretching, no problem. What do you need to make this comfortable for you? We don't have to sit with crossed legs. This is all about what do you need, and mindfulness is kind of one bit that I can offer. But what I really can offer is this compassion of where are you at right now?
And when you mentioned compassion, you were saying to me earlier that in the heart of suffering is the heart. And just thinking about where this is all going in the longer term from a psychologist's point of view, the trauma point of view, is there anything you could leave us with on that?
The longer term view, and I think this is maybe what some people in the group spoke to last time, is can we just come back to our core humanity here? Literally back to the heart and the way that the stories are moving us in both directions, moving us to the heartbreak of the suffering, but also moving us in the ways that human beings are responding to this suffering all around the world. And what's great when we connect online is we are global. And in my classes, you know, people that I teach in Brazil are now meeting the people that I teach in England. And for some reason, we didn't really meet when we were online, but now they're seeing each other. And the suffering in Sao Paulo is the same as the suffering in Stockwell. And we're there with literally with our hands on heart. This is my top practice, this hand on heart practice. It's very deep and very rich. But it's that physical gesture of listening to the heart. And when we do it together, you know, when we see and we look at the screen at people with their hands on their heart, we have this sense of, okay, there's a place where we meet one another.
That sounds like a beautiful way to end this. Tamara, could you just give us 2 minutes, hand on heart?
Yeah. So I would be inviting people again to check in how they felt with having the camera on or off during this practice, because it is a very intimate practice. I would encourage people to just, before they close their eyes or go to the heart, to just look around the screen. Maybe it's not quite eye contact, but, you know, just take the faces of the people that, or whoever is on the call, you know, kind of really, I see you with my eyes. And then one hand or two, whichever feels more comfortable, just placing the hands on the heart, on the chest area, and beginning to bring the attention, first of all, just to the hands. Just mindfulness of the hands, and just happens to be on the heart. So no stress. Let's feel the hands on the heart. And notice the qualities of warmth or coolness. Maybe any tension or feelings of relaxation in the fingers and the thumbs. And the texture of the clothes. As we do this, we may begin to notice the breath as it moves in and out of the body. The sensations under the palm of the hand of rise and fall, expand, contract, breathing in, breathing out. And let's see now if we can go deeper and find our heartbeat, or just place the attention inside the chest. The hands and the lungs providing this support for the heart, physical support. Support for the attention. And then taking from there with your mind in your chest, one step back as you soften the body, relax the face. One step back to the heart of hearts as best you can. The option is to just stay with the hands if that's more comfortable for you. And what's true for me now, here, right now? And finishing with 3 breaths. No need to rush. Taking your time to transition to open eyes. And if there is any sensation in the body that feels different or more calming or soothing, I invite an internal selfie at this point. Take a snapshot, drink it in, and really lock it in your memory. I have this place.
Really appreciate you taking some time to give us those more than hints or tips, I think. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.